Here now is Brett Tolman, former U.S. Attorney and Executive Director of Right on Crime, along with Carrie Severino, Judicial Crisis Network President and former Clerk to Justice Thomas. I speak to you early, Carrie, so I got to speak to this guy first. Brett, can you tell me first off your experience at the highest court and how something like this can happen?
You know, Brian, it's shocking. This is the leak heard around the country, around the world. And to tell you that as any clerk, when they start out, one of the first things they find out very quickly is the sheer power that's in a draft opinion. And there's a lot that changes in those opinions. And for this to be leaked, there's certainly very few people that have access to these. And it is a very tight-knit group. The investigation should not be long. I think they can find the leak fairly quickly, and I hope that they're working feverishly to do so.
Carrie, you think they found him or she already?
You know, that's a good question. I bet there's a lot of people in the court who have some pretty clear ideas, but I just hope that person is found and brought to justice quickly. This is outrageous. It's at a minimum a firing offense. I think a lot of people are saying someone who has this level of a breach of trust should not even be a member of the bar. And I would say what's most egregious is this is really not just an attack on the confidentiality of the court, but the institution itself and the independence of the judges, because it's trying to bring political pressure and threats, even threats of violence from the outside. You see the protests at the court trying to help intimidate them into having different decisions. That is a huge attack on the justices themselves and on the institution of the court.
So the Chief Justice came out and said, yeah, the document's authentic, written in February, but the votes are not final. Brett, make sense of that.
Yeah, you know, the draft opinion is exactly that. There's a lot that changes, and the justices have to agree when they join a majority opinion. They have to agree with everything that's written there unless they intend to write something themselves. And so there's a lot that still can happen. And you talk to anybody and their experience with the Supreme Court, they're outraged because it is an attack on the integrity of the court to be able to make those changes and adjustments that a draft opinion is simply not capable of putting out yet. You know, just, Brian, if you think about, there's a lot of people clamoring and wanting to know, is this a crime that has occurred? You know, the more likely scenario is going to be that there's criminal activity in trying to hide what occurred. It's very unclear whether or not this leak itself can be prosecuted with any federal criminal statute, but now is the determining point of whether there will be some criminal activity on what they do to hide what they did.
So what you're saying is, Brett, and to Carrie, this is to you, is that, yeah, no crime maybe has been committed yet, but if the FBI comes in and starts questioning you and you lying to the FBI is a crime, correct?
Yeah,
That's exactly
absolutely.
right.
And we've seen this one play out before. But I think in previous times, we have seen that the legal community itself would have ensured that this kind of thing could not be rewarded. And stories are being told of how Justice Scalia instructed his clerks that if you ever leaked some confidential information from chambers, I will personally make it my mission to destroy your legal career. He didn't say it mean. He's just like, I want you to know your legal career will be over. And I think once upon a time, the institutions would have cooperated this. On both sides, they would have said, we can't accept someone like that in this community. Unfortunately, I worry that this person's already being lauded by some of the extremists that you quoted on the left as a hero, that somehow trashing every American institution, from the Supreme Court to now people calling for an end to the filibuster, to force through legislation to pack the court or to codify Roe. They're ready to bulldoze any American institution that gets in the way of their liberal policy agenda.
We've got about 22 hours with this story. And I'm watching some of the instant speculation because we don't know for sure. We know one thing, Democrats are energized. I wouldn't be surprised if Republicans are energized too. But things have certainly changed today. We're not talking about the broken border. We're not talking about inflation, at least for a while. We're not even talking about what's happening in Ukraine. Brett, who benefits from this? And what do you make of the timing?
Brian, it's disheartening. The left is proving that they care nothing about the sanctity of our institutions, that they will utilize access and position to further an agenda, and they don't care about, keeping the fabric of this great country together. And they should be outraged. They should be upset. they should be trying just as diligently to identify who the leaker is and to condemn it. And instead, we're seeing politics at its worst, and it's on the heels of everything that you outlined, Brian, that is going wrong with this country in an effort to try to draw attention to something else and outrage the population and further divide this country.
Carrie, 20 seconds real quick. Why do you think this happened now?
I think it probably was a short-sighted attempt to shift the direction that the court was going, maybe to try to spur legislation on. But I think at the end of the day, Americans are going to be happy to know that they and their elected representatives are going to be deciding this. I think the people who are going to be most encouraged and enthused by this decision actually are going to be on the pro-life side. And the other side was going to vote for probably Joe Biden or whoever the Democrats put up either way. So at the end of the day, I think it breaks news earlier in a way that they shouldn't have, but I think it's not going to actually redound to the benefit of the left. Decision
not due till end of June. So a lot of time to speculate. Maybe we'll get the facts and maybe we'll get the culprit. Thanks, both of you. Brett and Carrie, great job.